in Surviving.
Welcome to the Blazing Pucks podcast.
Oh, shit!
Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Victor Manuel.
And I am your other host, Carmichael JT Miller. No, Carmichael Manfredi. As you guys can see, for those of you who are listening on podcast, I am sporting a mustache for Movember. I will provide a link if you'd like to donate. But my co-host over here said that I resemble JT Miller. So I decided to go into the look on my glasses and a trucker hat backwards. But with that being said, Vitor, how you doing, brother?
Oh, I am doing phenomenal, bro. Vibing and surviving. And yeah, dude, I mean, how else can I freaking not enjoy given the toxic chaos that this fucking team puts us through with highs and lows? But yeah, dude, how are you?
I honestly pretty much the same, man. Just, vibing and grinding and, just fully accepting the fact that this team is really going to dictate my mood for the next, few months. The months ahead, that's for sure.
Yeah, and also fully accepting the fact that this is not the team from last year, and there's going to be some adjustment periods and some kinks to work through, though they're positive.
Definitely, but the ceiling is quite high. So, there's hope and there's excitement. But Victor, why don't you tell our listeners what we're going to be talking about today on the Blazing Pucks, the Canucks podcast you listen to when your kids are not around?
Absolutely, because we're fuckheads and we like telling you to go fuck off every now and then.
And each other.
And each other too, Fuck,
that's the big one.
I mean, that's been there since fucking grade 8, dude.
That's right.
Go fuck off. But to our listeners, today, episode 65, we're going to be talking about the rumblings of Aatu Ratu and Jonathan Lekkerimäki that are coming up from Abbotsford. Actually, one of them already getting the call up for tonight as we record on Tuesday. Carm, what else are we going to talk about today on the podcast?
As usual, we're going to give our recap of the 2 games played since last episode, the painful dance with the Devils, 6-0 loss, and the Shark win. Victor, what's the last one?
Well, the last topic that we're going to talk about is exploring some early season trade target ideas. As it's been mentioned, it looks like, with no surprise, Rutherford and Alvin are already fishing around in the trade market, and it's been noted that we are needing defense. So we're going to break into that and a bunch more stupid shit along the way. So fucking, what do you say, Carm? Let's get this show on the road.
Let's get this show on the road, baby.
Hello, fuck me. Fuck you. Aatu Ratu.
Let's look at you. You're just a fucking R-rated poet over there. I love it.
Oh, yeah, dude. I don't even know how to call myself yet, but I'll find a way.
And you know what? I wish you luck in that journey there, my friend. But anyway, Mr. Ratu is up with the squad for tonight's game, and I can only imagine that's because they want to keep Hugh Suter and Garland with Petey. But yeah, he is tearing it up in the AHL. Him and Lekkerimäki.
Yes,
I mean Lekkerimäki right now. He's a point per game, and it's actually interesting to note too. He's actually 4th in the AHL in shots, which he's got 34 as of this morning.
Yes. He's been a fucking hardcore volume shooter out in the AHL from what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
And that makes my dick hard.
Oh, dude. 100%. And I don't blame you, man. Mine's I got a lead pipe in the pants, my friend. Like that's incredible. And we brought him up earlier we were thinking about bringing him up to start the year. But man, this is exactly the reason that we wanted to send him to the AHL, is to see how he would have, we would have taken a precaution, right? Essentially, you don't want to obviously ruin a young kid, but from what it sounds like, what's his name? Darren Dreger, the beauty Darren Dreger was on Sekeres Price. And apparently he's been saying that it's not necessarily a matter of if, it's a matter of when with Lekkerimäki.
Oh, without a doubt. I can see that. I think we saw in the preseason the elite level ceiling of offense Lecker can provide. We know that he's an amazing shooter from the World Juniors, from when he won the MVP. I mean, that man had a cannon that entire tournament. And I don't know about you, dude, but given with where Pedersen's game is going,
Yeah.
and let's say the lack of shooting that has been developed in Pedersen's game, I love the idea of potentially having a volume ass shooter to Petey's wing if this all goes well through and through.
100%. 100%. One thing that I will say, and I'm going to play devil's advocate, is that is exactly the same thing that we said about Jake De Brusk.
Yeah, I know, but
That's why I know it's different. I know potato, tomato, fuckity fickety, whatever you want to say.
Shucking fucking Pomodoro.
You said that correctly. Fuck you for that. That was good. I can't shit on
Fuck
you yet.
you for doing my Italian shit.
Yeah, fuck you for doing it right. Fucking, I lost my train of thought, you bastard.
We're talking about volume shooter and how stapling that to Petey's wing. We're saying the same thing about De Brusk, but
yes,
that
same
obviously is
thing
not
about De
working out.
Brusk. But De Brusk also at the same time, I was going to play the other side of the coin there. I mean, he's also coming on a new team too, something that you mentioned at the beginning of the episode, right? So he coming in, learning the system. I think it's also kind of a shock to the system because it demands a lot from the body, right? Like you have to be in very good shape. Not saying that these guys aren't already, but it requires that next level, right? I think that's what we're waiting on. But I mean, it seems to be working for Lecker down in Abbotsford because the systems are parallel, right?
Yeah, and that's honestly something that I'm so grateful to see this team ever since the Utica days several years ago, now directing into having an AHL team that's close by, that they're very in sync with the NHL team. And yeah, I think for me, when it comes to that whole DeBrusk and Lecker thing that you were mentioning earlier, the one thing I will say is that DeBrusk, we know is, yeah, of course, he's a shooter and, he has that goal scoring ability, but he's also pretty balanced in his two-way game, and that he's kind of relatively known as a two-way winger more than a goal scoring winger. At least that's
True
what I've
enough.
learned and, read over DeBrusk over these years. Though I haven't really paid much attention to Boston over the years because, sorry, fuck the Bruins, but
Totally.
That's just me. But yeah, there's something about the way that Lecker is showing up because he's not just a shooter, but it seems like he's also getting some good assists too out in the AHL. Right
That's
now,
right.
got 2 assists out of 4 goals, 6 points, but the man can sauce a good pass too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he knows what he's doing there. Right. And I mean, that's the draw of having him play center, play his natural position, because he's good in the faceoff dot too.
Wait, Lecker natural position is center?
Oh, wait, sorry. I don't know why I thought you were talking about Ratu there for a second.
No, Lecker
Lecker sorry, we're kind of flip-flopping here. But yes, no. Yeah, he's at a point per game right now. He's got 4 goals, 2 assists. So yes, you're absolutely right.
Well, fuck you. I want to say that, and I'm still gonna say it, but I appreciate the fact that you even just said I'm right. This feels weird. I don't know. Has hell frozen at this point? Like
a little bit, yeah.
Could be. Well, speaking of though, let's actually talk about the other guy that we're stoked for, who's getting the call up, Aatu Ratu. Now he's got 7 points. He's the one that's leading the Abbotsford Canucks right now in points. As you mentioned, he's a wicked face-off guy. And I'm really excited to see how he's going to perform with the team as the 4th line center.
That's right. Right? Because he, I don't want to say he was underwhelming because he definitely wasn't when he was first up in the lineup, but now he's been able to get his feet wet and hopefully get his game back. So I think we're going to see a different type of Aatu Ratu tonight and for the foreseeable future, as opposed to the one that we saw in the beginning of the season, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Usually I would expect that the shock of what it takes to show up for NHL games and night in, night out um, really got to him. But I think, the little stint he's had in the AHL so far, the fact that he's the leading points, scorer on the Abbotsford Canucks, that alone, I would imagine, would boost his confidence and have him feeling good about going into, you know, however long this stretch of games he's going to get with, the Vancouver Canucks. I mean, Baines got a pretty decent stretch,
He
and
did.
Baines, while again had his goal that super stoked for, could have been two, but primarily beyond that, outside of like his speed and skating, didn't really have the best numbers, right? Didn't
No.
really put up much afterwards. Was in minus, I think, either -4 or -7. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he got a good leash. So I would like to imagine Ratu would get a good leash as well too. Yeah.
Well, you would hope so too, especially with the fact that playing in the dot, you got a lot more defensive responsibility. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily like a winger. I'm not saying wingers don't have a lot of defensive responsibility, but a centerman is a lot more engaged in their own defensive zone than a winger is. That's just the truth, right?
Yep.
So I'm hoping for the same kind of treatment as well. I'd love to see him bang one home,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just same thing obviously as Baines, but I want to see him get rewarded for his hard work in the NHL at the NHL level, whether he sticks in the NHL or not.
Mm-hmm.
Him going down and putting up 7 points, what that tells me is that it didn't necessarily discourage him, right? Like he took what he learned in the NHL and he used it to elevate his game. At least that's what it seems like based on his numbers.
Well, for sure. You would imagine that any athlete that has an opportunity wants to continuously improve and take whatever they learned, whether good or bad, apply it and use that to improve their game. Now, the thing I loved about Ratu already from his improvement of what he showed the team last year, which wasn't much, to what he has shown, those small sample size with preseason and stuff, what he can be this year with his skating, his board battle. I like him not being afraid to get in the board battles,
Yes.
to be an outlet. I noticed when I remember seeing in the preseason games, he was really good at being an outlet along the boards if he wasn't in the board battle himself. And I mean, the man's got good vision. I feel like
Yes.
he can make a really good amount of plays, set up a good amount of passes. So yeah, it would be nice to see him pot a goal. But heck, if we can even get him on the board with an assist, uh, I think that would be a good sign if he pulls that off tonight against the Ducks and gets on the board. I don't know about you. What do you think? Do you think Ratu gets a point tonight? Yes or no?
I mean, you know what? He's going to be playing with Hoglander and Sprong, it looks like. Like that's what the fourth line's going to be looking like. So, I mean, Sprong already got someone their first goal as a Canuck. Why not Ratu?
Yeah. Actually,
Right?
that kind of trips me the fuck out that Hoglander and Sprong are his line mates for a fourth
That's
line.
that's what I'm saying. Like that's
Yeah.
for a fourth line, that's pretty good.
Fuck yeah.
Right?
It
I'm
is.
liking that. Even though, like, I mean, I think Niels Hoglander's kind of in the doghouse with Mr. Tocchet there for whatever reason. And I mean, I
Mhm.
know he hasn't obviously had the most overwhelming start. He had a good couple goals, but I think this would be a good opportunity for him to maybe reinvent himself because, as Tocchet has said before, I mean, he plays some of his best hockey on the fourth line. So that
Yeah,
could be a really interesting situation for Ratu to be in, especially in the new got Sprong, right?
yeah, for sure. And Sprong, regardless of his track record as a complete player, he is offensively talented, and
Oh yeah, and he can skate.
he's got speed, drive, like he's got an eye for the net, and I think Ratu for sure will benefit from having him on his wing. And yeah, I know it's a sidebar, but it is unfortunate that for whatever reason Hoglander does seem to be in Tocchet's doghouse. Whether I don't know if it's because Tocchet has unrealistic expectations of Hoglander that he's not meeting, of course. or if there are things maybe going on that the average fan may not notice, that's watching from TV, watching from their screen, that talk it sees about Hoaglander's effort and decision making, because he seems like a coach who's very rooted about putting in good effort and making good decisions.
Yeah, well, that's why Baines got the look as long as he did up and with the guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole reason that he stayed up there. So I completely agree with you.
Yeah, in the end though, I'd like to believe that Ratu's going to get a point tonight against the Ducks. Put my money on it. Put $1.
I say he scores. I'm saying he scores tonight. I just have that feeling, man.
Okay, yeah. I mean, dude, honestly, I like the ambition. I say he will get a goal within maybe by game 3. But
Right.
if he gets it tonight, dude, fuck, I'll buy you a shot. Simple as that.
That sounds fantastic. But
Speaking of, and sorry to cut you off, bro. But speaking of shot, we got to talk about and get into our first ad read here with DraftKings, because you know what? In the end, the quest to the Stanley Cup means everybody's got a good shot right now, and that quest has already started. We're on the way. There's so much hockey to digest right now. The puck is dropping consistently throughout the 2024-25 season. And you can get in on all the action here at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. You can try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. You just go to DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and then place your first bet. And if you're new to DraftKings, well, listen up, because new customers that bet $5 get $200 in bonus bets instantly. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Ready? Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problems gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice. Copyright NHL 2024. All rights reserved.
Nicely done, my friend.
Thank you, sir. I seriously, I stand in the mirror and I do that 5 times a day, and I hate myself more every single time.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
No, I don't actually. I love you, Draft. It's fun. I just think of that radio person in my head at the end of it. Like,
that's exactly what I pictured too. Like, right, like I just pictured Billy Mays going like, Billy Mays here, going nuts on like those infomercials, and then as he's still demonstrating the shitty product that he's got on TV, you hear that.
Don't you dare talk shit about OxyClean. It was not a shitty product. That shit worked, dude.
The slap chop one was the best one with I don't remember. It wasn't Billy Mays. It was the other one. He was like, "You're gonna love my nuts," and then fucking chops him.
Dude, didn't he get caught fucking beating a hooker or some shit?
It wouldn't surprise me. He looks like one of those guys that would do that. That's for sure. I'm just being a total dick right now, and I know.
No, I know. But you know what? That slap chop guy, that guy was off his rock, man. That guy was something else.
Yeah, there was something up with that guy. But speaking of something up, there was something up with the Canucks on the 30th when they played the Devils. Hey?
Oh, man. That broke my heart. That was a very tough game to watch.
It was, it was. And I know, like you and I know we've mentioned before, like we're up pretty early in the morning. I don't know about you, but once they scored the 3-0 goal, I shut the TV off and I'm like, fuck, I'm going to bed.
See, the difference between you and I is I like pain, and I stayed up watching. Honestly, though, I passed out during the third period, though, and like I passed out when it was 4-0, and I woke up and it was like 6-0, and I'm like, fuck me. Well, It didn't get any better. So
No, it really didn't. It really didn't. And I mean, like in a sense of shots on goal for the Canucks that game, I mean they were only outshot by 2, right? They had 7 shots in the first, 7 shots in the second, 6 in the third. I mean, that's sort of shot total. I mean, maybe it doesn't win you a game like that, but I mean, that being said, it was the effort on the ice. They just they didn't show up. That was one of the worst like fucking efforts that I've seen, especially in the Tocchet era.
Yes. It even Tocchet himself, I remember the post game, comments afterwards. He literally said it felt like watching a game from when he took over.
Yeah.
The team was basically playing Boudreaux like hockey, which we know from Boudreaux hockey, dope offensively, but such a gong show and horrible on a defensive end. And the worst part is if we played Boudreaux hockey and we had nothing to show for it, we didn't even get a fucking goal.
Nothing. Absolutely zero to show for it. And I mean, it started too. Like the first shift that they had really like was going in their favor. It was fantastic. And then Tyler Myers dives in on that face off. And then all of a sudden, I mean, it was a great play from the Devils. Don't get me wrong. They definitely took advantage, but they scored off the rush. And I mean, I don't want to blame Artie, but do I think he should have had that one? Absolutely.
Yep.
Right. I think he should have had that one without a doubt, but that's how the game starts off.
Man, speaking of Artie, like now that we mentioned him on this, I first off, I feel for the kid. You come off a glorious, unsung, kind of hero ending to your season, showing up in the playoffs when called upon.
Yeah.
There's obviously a lot of hype, a lot of buzz going into the season. And the games that he's been behind, for the Canucks so far, they've all, while I don't blame every single loss that he's had on him, but he's been a pretty big factor and played some stinker games, which is very unfortunate.
It is very unfortunate. And I think that was not the expectation of the fan base. But when you consider the fact that he's such a young goaltender, he still has so much to learn. And one thing to add with Artie too, right? Like he came into the playoffs, and I'm not trying to take anything away from his performance because he was excellent, right?
Mm-hmm.
But not many teams had the book out on him, right? He was a brand new goalie to the league, and once Edmonton did figure out the book on him, I mean, I know we only lost by 1 goal, but the Canucks didn't really show up in that game 7 either, right? Until like the third period for fucking some reason, right?
Yeah.
They thought they were the Leafs. Honestly, right?
Well, that's I feel like that's one of the bad habits Rick Tocchet has really been trying to iron out with this team from when he inherited it, which was, we struggle to play a full 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And again, you're human. There's going to be games where certain periods, maybe the team sticks it to you, or they, either if in the first period the team starts off strong, your opponent, or by second, third, they like adjust enough to like give a good fight back. But nonetheless, when you're there, the expectations is play your ass off for those 3 periods, right?
Yeah.
And the Canucks struggle to do that.
They haven't,
and
like you said, they haven't had an outing once.
Yeah, and I feel like the Devils game was just when you have that kind of inconsistent effort from the game against a team that can really make you pay for it.
That's right.
Then that's what you get. I mean, right now they have literally the number 1 goal scorer in the league, Nico fucking Hischier, huh?
I know. Shout out to Nico Hischier, by the way. I mean, he was known for his Selke-like abilities, but man, he's really turning up the goal scoring this year. Like that was a hell of a. I know Artie should have had it, but that was a hell of a release.
100%. And I know it's not Canucks fandom talk here, but like Nico Hischier, I don't know if you think he can stay consistent with his pace. Probably not to like the level of how it's starting. But heck, if Nico Hischier is pretty consistent with his offensive production this year, that man finally has shown the world why he was drafted first overall.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Right. I completely agree with you. Now I mean I don't know if he can keep it up consistently. I don't have a shooting percentage available. I didn't know we were going to talk about Heisher today, but
just go.
it's really going to depend on the shooting percentage. But anyway, besides the point. Yeah, I mean, with Artie, you can't entirely blame him because they lost 6-0. Like they didn't score once.
Yep.
But I mean, it was completely flat, right? To the point where Rick Tocchet didn't even really shit on the guys to the media. He was like, they know. Like that was punishment enough. And the sad part is, as Tyler Myers said, right? They've been kind of playing towards this for the last few games. And New Jersey is a fast and very skilled team, and they made them pay, right? So I'm hoping that this is a good kick in the ass, a bigger kick in the ass than it was against Philly last year.
Yep.
Because that's when they really started to kickstart it. I mean, I know. Well, I guess this is a good time to transition over to the Sharks game, but that wasn't obviously a kick in the ass that I was expecting, but I thought they had a pretty decent effort against the Sharks.
Yeah, they definitely showed up better than they did against the Devils. I'll give them that.
Yeah.
Mind you, it is the Sharks, but they were coming in off a hot streak. The Sharks, I think, was it 3 games or 4 games in a row they had won?
3 games in a row they had won at that point.
Yeah. But yeah, there was some periods for sure. Like I'd say first and second period, maybe, or no, first and third is kind of where like maybe it wasn't fully 100% effort. Second period, I felt like they gave a really good effort throughout playing against the Sharks. I think what I really want to see the Canucks do, though it wasn't a pretty win, they got the win.
Yeah.
But what I think I want to see the Canucks do that I feel like hasn't really been shown this season so far is, play to that identity of being not only just a hard forechecking team, but a team that's able to like literally box out and clean up the middle of the ice at ease.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that the Canucks were able to lock in with last year. And you could just tell that they were in unison. They always protected the middle of the ice in their own defensive zone. They were very aware of the chances that could circulate to it, and they were able to keep a lot of the opponents to the perimeter when they were defending.
That's right. Something
that I really haven't seen yet this year.
Not really at all.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, they're giving up so many high danger chances.
Mhm.
I mean that game against the Sharks is really a perfect example of that, right? Jake De Brusk comes in, and shout out to Jake De Brusk, got on the board finally, and that was a hell of a shot.
Finally. I'm so happy.
The relief on his face, man. Like, did you see his face afterwards? He was just like, he just looked up. He's like, thank fuck, which is crazy because last year on the same day of the year, he scored his first goal of the year. And like, it was the same thing, like a weight off his back.
Yes. Yeah, I know. That's such a trippy fact.
Such a trippy fact, man.
It works. November 2nd's his day.
Apparently that's his day, right? And but the thing is that should have been the end of it, right? That right there should have been the end of it. There was only about 4 minutes left, and then the Canucks give up the goal. And don't get me wrong, it was a hell of a goal by Granlund.
Yeah,
right. It was a wicked shot, but Suter came up clutch. But even after Suter scored, and fantastic spinorama pass by Garland there,
dude. Garland is just the fucking team MVP right now.
He is
in my eyes.
Right now he's the engine. Normally that's JT Miller, right? And I mean, we know JT Miller's fighting through something right now, and he's playing through something, but I'm not seeing the same driver of play, right? That's the issue. So I hope whatever is ailing him, he's able to either play through it or get over it sooner than later. But anyway, that's besides the point. I'm going off on a tangent over here.
No, dude, tangents is what we're all fucking about here at the Blazing.
That's true. That is kind of the whole point of podcasting. That's true.
Stupid shit. And why you got to look like Miller right now? So,
well, Someone's got to do it. He doesn't look like himself right now, so.
I know, yeah, he's not. But no, thankfully, Garland's a second injury. And dude, okay, so to bring it back to the Sharks game,
Yes.
you know, thank fuck for Pew Shooter. For Pew Shooter, who's the P shooter. Like, fuck. Dude, seriously, did not expect him to be the hero of the game. And it just goes to show you that though he is not a name that you would ever expect on the top 6, you plug him in there and he can fucking do something. I mean, last year he was eventually stapled and part of that Miller and Besser line, right?
Yeah,
And
that's right.
they were dope.
Dude, he scored the series clinching goal.
Yeah, game 6 winner, dude.
That's right.
Fucking no, I think Pew Suter is someone that has heavily been providing more value than we would have expected from him.
The Alvin special. He is literally the Alvin special. That's what he is. Providing way more value than he's getting paid, really. To put it as bluntly as possible. That's how it is.
Yeah, straight up. He's outperforming his contract.
Dude, he's Suterman.
He's Suterman.
Or Pew Shooterman.
Pew Shooterman. The Suiternator. I don't know.
The Suiternator.
Yeah.
Either way, he came up clutch there. But the crazy thing too is that almost wasn't the end of it. They almost still gave up the tying goal.
Yes,
and with fucking what, like 2 seconds left. Like that sort of shit. Like when you say protect the guts of the ice, that's kind of what I think of. Like that's the stuff that I don't want to see that shit anymore. I want them to see them play like they were the best team defensively last year in the regular season, at least, right? They locked that defensive zone down. Mind you, they also had Thatcher Demko back there standing on his head, which, hey, Lankinen's been giving us fucking excellent goaltending.
Hell yeah, he is.
Another Alvin special.
Dude, we're blessed. We're literally blessed. Just when we think the goaltending shit is not going our way, something comes up.
Exactly.
Playoffs, Steelovs, and then now regular season getting a freaking late free agent signing under $1 million.
I know.
Playing insane right now. Elite.
It's it. You know what, man? I'm telling you, like Lankinen has Stockholm syndrome right now. I'm telling you right now. Like that's the only way that he would have signed that deal, and he's playing off his ass right now. So I am very thankful for Mr. Lankinen.
Yep. Quality second MVP.
100%. Right. But overall, I mean, Lankinen was the reason that we won that game. Like that's been the story each and every time that he's been in net. Right. And look, when she loves isn't playing to Lankinen level, look what happens. We don't win those games. Right. So I want to see a 60-minute effort from the boys tonight. We're recording on Tuesday. Remember our listeners here. So I want to see a full fucking 60 from the boys tonight. I don't care if it's like a 2-1 score, but if they're dominating play, this is a Ducks team they're the least scoring team in the league.
Yep.
Right? I'm sorry. You got to put these guys away. Like this could be a good pivotal moment for the boys. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a great opportunity to have someone like Ratu in the lineup, to bring it back to the previous section, because he's going to want to play off his ass too. So this is a great opportunity for him to bring that energy. Right? But you know who brings the energy? Our next sponsor.
Oh, nice.
Oh, we are going to talk about our friends over at Game Time. Guys, you know what I love about going to a hockey game is feeling that nice chill of the ice and hearing the stick hit the puck on a nice slap shot. And obviously the fights and the hits, right? Let's be real here. But Game Time is the reason that we're bringing all this up, because they have a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands and thousands of tickets, because who the fuck has got the time for that shit when you can just go on Game Time? Right? For instance, big game coming up this Saturday. The Canucks are in town. Or the Canucks, of course the Canucks are in town. The Oilers are in town. And you can get a last-minute deal on Game Time, and You can also see where you're going to be sitting right from the app, all on your phone. One of my absolute favorite parts about Game Time is the seat view. Because why the hell would you buy tickets if you don't know what they're going to look for, or if they're going to be shit? Absolute garbage. Anyway, Game Time picks, like I mentioned, curation makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy, and theater, etc., etc. If you toggle on this feature, you get all-in pricing. So no surprises when you go to checkout. That's one of the worst things that I hate about buying tickets. And seat views. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. Also comes with the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Lastly, Game Time ticket coverage. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Once again, create an account and redeem code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time.
Stud.
Fucking Game Time, baby.
Fucking
I was reading off of that and I didn't have my glasses on, so I'm like, oh, fuck.
You chose to do that on expert mode, eh?
I just expert mode with one fucking hand tied behind my back.
You blind fuck.
Oh, you got it. But yes, man. Victor, last topic.
Let's do it.
How are you feeling for these trade targets?
Man, so it looks like clearly the Canucks want to add to their defense. You know, I know the most popular name out there that's been thrown around is Rasmus Andersson. Yeah. I think Rasmus Andersson would be sick, but I don't think he would be the type of defenseman we really need. Because again, we're needing big body, especially the type of style of defense that we thrived with, the type of defenseman we need. We need good system, two-way, big body type defensemen that know how to contribute and, you know, do the job right? Especially if Tocchet's going to be one of those guys that's all about the details.
That's right. He's a stickler for the details, that's for sure.
He's a stickler for the details, absolutely. So that is the reason why, as much as Rasmus Andersson is a very talked about piece, trade target, and I would still be pretty stoked. Not too sure if he's the guy that we would be going for. What do you feel about him?
I agree with you with Rasmus Andersson. I think he would be great offensively, but I'm not sure if he fits that. I also don't think that the price is going to be something the Canucks are willing to pay. I mean, are you willing to give a first-round pick for Rasmus Andersson? I wouldn't be. He's a good defenseman, but he's a right-shot defenseman who puts up points, right? That comes at a premium.
Yeah, especially when right-shot defensemen are slim picking on its own, let alone one that can actually drive and chip in offensively.
Dude, Vinny Desharnais got $2 million for 2 years, all because he's a fucking right-shot defenseman. So can you imagine what it's going to take to get Andersson, number one? Number two, I don't know that Calgary's going to be shopping him.
I don't think so.
Right? That's one thing, and that's even more dangerous for teams that want him, because that means the asking price is going to go way up just to get in the fucking door.
Yeah, true. And then also, I think the only situation that would make Calgary consider being sellers at the deadline is if their season just really goes to shit continuously. Exactly. But the thing is that they're an over 500 team right now.
Yeah, they are.
What?
I mean, they're starting to come down to earth right now. Rasmus Andersson, Calgary Flames. They're starting to come back down to earth, but they are still above 500. You're right.
Yeah. Well, they have a better record than Colorado, I think, at the moment. And that's right. That says something.
Well, I mean, yeah, that says something. Poor Colorado, them and their
hospital.
Crazy. The hospital. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I don't know why I had trouble finding that word there. But next one on the list here, Marcus Pettersson. I think that would be it would really fit the mold with this management team.
He's
a Penguin.
Yes, I agree. I think that realistically will be the defenseman that the Canucks target. Because there's been reportings I actually read earlier today that depending on how Pittsburgh's season goes, by deadline, they will be sellers and they are willing to shop Marcus Pettersson by the deadline, depending on where they're at. Marcus Pettersson is on a final year of his contract, so he is clearly going to be a trade chip.
Yes.
And the thing I like about Marcus Pettersson is defensive defenseman.
Yeah.
You know, fits the mold of what I was saying on what the Canucks kind of need on their blue line, which is someone that can play defensively sound, is able to, make good outlet passes, play responsibly, and really just add such a physical presence to our blue line that brings it closer to that status we had last year of having a very intimidating blue line.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, we would need Marcus Pettersson for, and I completely agree with everything you said, but we need him to be kind of like Carson Soucy last year.
Yep.
Basically. Right. We just need him to be able to do that. And honestly, based on his profile, that fits exactly what the Canucks would be looking for. So I think that's someone that they're really going to be going after. He's just above 6 foot, so he's a bigger guy, I guess we'll say. Mm-hmm. Obviously not like the other trees that we have back there. I know they want their defense, they want them big, they want them physical, right? Like that really, really worked for them last year. But I think puck moving is still going to be something that's important. So I think Marcus Pettersson honestly is probably at near the top of my list.
Yeah, I would ideally like to see us snag him and go for him. What it would take, I don't know. My gut tells me that whatever, because clearly we're depth, like we're deep with forwards.
Yeah.
And given that Höglander has been the one in the doghouse on Tocchet's side of things, alongside with him still having a really good value out there as a trade asset, my gut tells me he's going to be used for whatever trade we make to get that defenseman.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's on his last kind of leg right now. So trading him out, he still has term. He's a relatively cheap option. And I mean, he's put up over 20 goals, right? You put all of that on his resume, he'll be a great trade chip.
For sure.
Then that frees up a spot. Maybe halfway through the year by trade deadline, maybe Lekkermaki's still ripping it up and they want to open a spot up for him.
Yeah, honestly. Well, I mean, any good organization wants to give opportunities to the players in the farm who are genuinely performing well and deserving a chance up in the NHL, especially when they're a blue chip prospect like Lekkermaki.
Exactly. So yes, I agree. I think that's who's going to be going on the other side. Mm-hmm. Next one, just to kind of obviously keep it going here, is Mr. Provorov. Yeah, Ivan Provorov.
I know. I think it's similar in the scenario of like how Calgary is feeling where they don't want to really shop him.
Yeah, I agree.
But I think if I'm not mistaken, he's on a final year of a contract as well. Is he right or left shot? This part I didn't really quickly look up yet.
He shoots left.
Shoots left. Okay, so yeah. I mean, like, not ideally what we're looking for since we want more on the right, but I mean, we'll take any defenseman at this point that can help us out.
Provorov is 100%.
I like his potential, but I still think there's certain things about his game that I'm not really too sold on. He was obviously touted very highly when he was with Philadelphia initially, and then just kind of fell off the face of the earth there. Yeah. And, on Columbus, I don't know. I don't hear good things about him, and I don't hear bad things about him. So that's a pretty good thing.
Yeah, which is a defenseman that's not too bad. But
yeah, it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I'm not sold that Provorov's going to be on the market. I'm not 100% sold, especially with, the state that Columbus is in right now. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking that's where it is. But I know what you mean. Like, I don't know about you. He's not at the top of my list here. I'm actually really interested in the next one that you got here, and that's David Savard.
Yes, I knew you'd be interested in that one, but had to bring him up because he's on a contract year as well.
That's right. And he's a right shot defenseman.
Right shot defenseman who's known to be defensive.
Yeah.
Still, I know age is kind of getting to him, right? I think he's around 34, 35 at this point.
Yeah, he's 34. Dead
yeah.
on.
So at that stage, I mean, having a veteran presence like him, cup winner, how can you not be appealed? Want that on your blue line? My only concern on him is just maybe injury status. I know he tends to, given with his age, get injured a little more frequently. So we don't know how many games of him we would get if we trade for him. I don't mind trading for him as long as it's for the right price. What do you think?
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. As long as it's not it's not too crazy of a price. Kent Hughes over in Montreal is known to drive a hard bargain, though. That's one thing I will say. So you better bet that he's going to get the full value for the fact that David Savard is a right shot defenseman. He also has a cup, right? He was part of that Tampa Bay team that beat Montreal and then proceeded to sign with Montreal right after. But yeah, I mean, the one thing with David Savard that I do know of is you're not going to get a lot of foot speed with that guy. I know it's because of age, but that's also just not the type of player that he is. He can move the puck and he can shoot it. Like, he knows how to make outlet passes. So I think he still would work in this Canucks system. But yeah, you're not getting a crazy mobile defenseman, if I'm being honest with you. Like, he plays right now. He's mainly playing with Lane Hudson because Lane Hudson has, if you've been living under a fucking hockey rock, then you don't know who Lane Hudson is, but he is very, very mobile defenseman for the Habs right now. And David Savard's basically just back there to hold down the fort.
Ideally, which, I mean, if we do get David Savard, then put him next to Brandstrom and then let Brandstrom run wild and see how that goes.
Absolutely. That's actually not a bad idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but no, I agree with you on the comment. That is a concern when it comes to the mobility of David Savard. Especially with how quick and fast a lot of NHL players are right now. The last thing we want to constantly do is see him just get beat out by fucking forwards night in, night out. Especially if he doesn't play up to par or fit in our system.
Well, and I mean, the truth is there's a very high chance that we might face Edmonton again in the playoffs, right? I don't want them targeting David Savard with McDavid and Draisaitl, right?
Yeah, fuck no.
So that's the thing that I'm thinking of, right? Like, you got to make sure that that he's able to handle those minutes. But I mean, hey, you know what? He, like I said, he went through a playoff series with Tampa, did just fine, and he got himself a ring. So those are the trade topics. Last topic that I'm going to go over here is our new sponsor, Raycon. Guys, you know what the most exciting thing about a Black Friday or a Cyber Monday deal is? It's getting an amazing deal that you wouldn't normally get, except with Raycon. Because with Raycon, you get an amazing deal on premium audio every day of the year. But that doesn't mean they're not having any sales for Black Friday or Cyber Monday. Far from it. They're actually doubling down on their amazing value by offering my viewers up to 30% site-wide. A Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal you'll appreciate every day. Raycon's everyday earbuds. Especially if you haven't checked out their latest model, which includes plenty of new features that make them even more of a must-have for any audio lover. For example, they now feature a 32-hour battery life and multi-point connectivity that lets you pair with 2 devices at one. Now, that's just too much, man. That's too much. Raycon's everyday earbuds also come with active noise cancellation. It's a feature that's a must-have for me on long flights, or especially during my workday, but one that can be difficult to find at an accessible price point until now. Because that's another thing. Although Raycon's quality rivals some of the biggest names in premium auto, Raycon start at just half the price as the other guys. So they're already an incredible deal. Even before you factor in the Black Friday or Cyber Monday offer of up to 30% off site wide, guys. I can't express to you enough. These guys know what they're doing. Their sound cancellation is absolute beauty. For those on the podcast, I did a nice chef's kiss there. But anyway, Raycon's everyday earbuds are also available in a variety of vibrant colors, so you don't have to just have the standard issue white or black earbuds sticking out of your ears like everybody else. Maybe you want to have pink like Victor. Now, that's the perfect time to scoop them up if you haven't already. And don't worry if you're not as impressed as I am. Raycon offers a 30-day happiness guarantee, so you really can't lose. And, I mean, if it's not a win-lose or whatever, then it's a win-win. So it's time to save big for Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Go to buyraycon.com/THPN today to get up to 30% off site-wide. That's right. You'll get up to 30% off everything on Raycon's website when you go to buyraycon.com/THPN. All right. 3 ad reads we got to do. 3 ad reads we got to do for this one here. But we are coming up short on time there, Victor.
We are. For the record, magenta is what I would pick, not pink, you fuck. It's like, what? Magenta? Like, what fucking difference? Yeah.
No, all colors. That was a good one to pick.
That was hilarious. I'll give you a touche for the jab in an ad read. Like, touche. But yes, we do have our short on time. I think this is a good time to wrap up our episode 65. Karn, what do you think?
I think that's a great idea.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning in. Episode 65 of the Blazing Pucks podcast, the podcast you listen to when your kids are not around because they can go fuck themselves. Just kidding. If you enjoyed today's episode, Carm, let them know what the listeners can do if they enjoyed.
I absolutely will. If you enjoyed today's episode, hit the subscribe button and make sure that you are getting those auto downloads in. Also, reach out to us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Victor, what can they do if they really, really like the podcast?
If you really, really like the podcast, please leave us a 5-star review on Spotify, Apple. Leave a like and a comment here on the YouTube video that we have here. Live streams, we're doing it on Tuesday, putting up the episode on Spotify for Thursday. Carl mentioned it already. Auto downloads, help your boys out here. And last but not least, thank you so much for tuning in weekly with your 2 BC buds here to shoot the shit and talk about the Vancouver Canucks, having a good time. Nothing else more to say, but Carm, in Blazing Pucks fashion,
much love.
And go fuck yourself. Wait.